All right, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, let me be sure that this is good. Okay. All right, everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to PTM Live Broadcast. Good afternoon, everyone. If you are here, say something. My name is Mary Beth Chima. I am the convener of the Parenting Through Mentorship group. On Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. If you're here with us, please say something so that we know that you're here with us. So I know I have company. If you're here with me, please say something. I'll just give a minute or two and see, let people join us. So if you are here, please don't stay in the background. Say something, say hello. Let me know where you're watching me from. And if you're catching the replay, please say so. Let me know where you're catching the replay from. My name is Mary Beth. As I said, I'm always excited to be on your screen talking about parenting issues. So if you're here, don't just be in the background. Please say something. Let's know that you are here with us. All right, so today we are looking at how you can take the front stage in your child's education. Okay, I've had people ask me more than once what I mean when I'm talking about parents being involved, parents taking the front stage and all of that. Like, does it mean that I have to now take the place of the child's teacher and start teaching the child and all that? And I always say to them, hey, you don't have to take anybody's place, except, of course, you are homeschooling. If you're homeschooling, in that case, you can be everything to you. You are everything to your child. Basically, you're both parent and teacher to the child. So yes, it means that you're teaching the child everything, right? Not just what you teach at home. I mean, you're going beyond and adding the academics and all of that, right? Hi, Mariam, it's good to have you. Hi, Moji, good afternoon. All right, so if you're with me, please say something. Let me know that you're with me and you're here and where you're joining from. Don't stay in the background today. Don't stay in the background today. And if you're catching the replay, please do say so too. All right, so yes, I was saying, except you're homeschooling your child, like you're the parent, you're the homeschooling parents, okay, then you are like fully 100%, you're both teacher and parent, right? But if that's not the case and you go somewhere and pay school fees, then of course the school has a responsibility. But what we're saying is, when you get into a contract with people, right? When you get into a contract in your workplace, at your job and all of that, when you get into a contract or you give a contract out to somebody or a company, what do? You don't just go and lie down and rest. Okay, usually you will demand, that, first of all, the contract will have terms. So you will have terms of that contract, you will sign that contract, and then each person has a role that they're playing. So you have a role that you're playing, right? And the contractor has a role that the contractor is playing. And of course, the contractor will have to give you feedback. Now, you cannot depend on the contractor's feedback if you do not have expectations, right? So you can't you can't just go and rest and, sit down and be waiting for the contractor's feedback as the only basis for which you're going to, weigh how well the contractor is doing in that contract. You must have your expectations before you can say to the contractor, this is what you're doing well, or this is what you're not doing well. So that's what we're saying. Yes, you're not a homeschooling parent, you're not parenting your child, you're not teaching your child solely. There is a school that is responsible for some part of the education of the child. Now you need to ensure that the school gives you feedback, and that feedback can only be effective, right, if you know what your child needs, right? That feedback can be effective when you know the child's need, and then you can tell when the school is doing what it's supposed to do or when it's not doing what it's supposed to do. So that's what we mean when we say you taking the front stage in your child's education. So yes, if your goal is to achieve effective, if your goal is to achieve effective education in your child's life, if your goal is to ensure that your child gets 100% the value for the education that you're paying for, then you must take the front stage in their education. So before we even go back to the school, let's start with us as parents. So first thing first, your role as a parent, first of all, is one of teaching, right? You are also, as a parent, by virtue of the fact that you are a parent, you are also a teacher, isn't it? You're also your child's teacher. In fact, you're your child's number one teacher. So it means that you have a role, a serious role to play even in your child's education. And the moment you recognize that you have this role, the moment you recognize that you have this role, then you will begin to look beyond, right? You begin to look beyond just being mommy, and you see yourself as someone who has a responsibility to fulfill. Okay, so now I'll tell you the difference between you as a teacher, because we have established that you're also a teacher, isn't it? We've established that you're your child's number one teacher. We've established that you have your role, you have certain things that you have to teach to your child, isn't it? We have established that if your child is going to be taught, it means that your child needs to know how to learn. So guess what? You're the first person who actually teaches your child how to learn. As a parent, you're the first person, because learning is a skill. So we take that for granted, or we don't understand this fact. So let me tell you today, if you did not know, the ability to learn is a skill. Someone has to teach the child how to learn, okay? And if you do that early, the time that the child is with you, from when the child is born, yes, so that's when your job starts. The moment the child is born. In fact, for those of us who are extra, we say right from when the child is even inside. Okay, so hey, from the moment the child is born, you have become a teacher. You are teaching already. So it means that if you're teaching, then that child needs to learn how to learn, isn't it? So it is actually your role to teach the child how to learn, and not wait for the child to get to school before the child learns how to learn. All right, so first of all, you are the first. You are primarily the first person that will set the pace in your child's education. You are the one. All right, so I was going to start telling you the difference between your child's teacher and you. All right, so you are both teachers. That's established. Now, what your child's teacher does, or the school does, is first of all, they set objectives. So they know what it is that they want to do with your child, right? They know what they want to achieve in your child. They know where they are going with your child. They have a destination. So for every single topic and every single subject and everything that they are teaching your child, they have learning objectives. They have what they want to achieve. Now, this learning objective is broken down in a way that it is served, okay? The lesson is served to your child in the way that is age appropriate. Now, your child's teacher does this, and you do not do this, because I'm trying to point out the difference between what your child's teacher does, okay, what the school does for your child that you do not do, okay, and that's basically that's if you're going to have to take the front stage in their education, these are some of the things that you would need to look at. Okay, so the first of all is they set learning objectives. Okay, they set learning objectives, and those learning objectives is to get the outcome, right? It's for them to be able to reach the outcomes of what they want to achieve with your child. So your child's school is teaching, or is thinking with the end in mind. So if you as a parent, you are not thinking with the end in mind, then there's something you're doing wrong. Okay, so if you're going to take the front stage in your child's education, you have to bring yourself to the point where you start thinking with the end in mind. Okay, two, your child's teacher will create a scheme of learning, isn't it? So they create a scheme of learning that embraces every single thing that they want to teach your child, every knowledge that they think that your child needs, right? All the knowledge that your child needs and all of that, they bring all of that in that scheme. Okay, so that scheme is probably for a whole year, right? Or for a whole term. So they bring everything there. So they are focused, right? So your child's school is focused. Your child's school has a destination. Your child's school is on track. Okay, the difference between them and you is you are not on track. So you can wake up today and you are teaching a particular thing. Okay, before you even get to the end of that thing, you just derail and you move to something else. because you cannot manage certain things, your emotions and all other things like that. Okay, so I was in our close circle group today, and someone I forgot what issue was that. Someone mentioned what was it exactly she mentioned? They mentioned I can't remember. As we're talking, I'll remember. Okay, but basically what it was is, the person mentioned something that the child is doing. Okay, no, I was speaking with a parent that I have one-on-one sessions with yesterday, and then she mentioned that her child did a particular thing. He was out playing, and he did a particular thing and all that. Now, at the end of the day, I said to her, hey, you are even looking at the fact that the child did this particular thing. Did you see that in that action, it also shows that you've not had the right sex conversation with this child? Okay, so you see what it is. Why the child was doing a particular thing, or why the child was having a particular moment, right? The objective for that thing she was having the child do, there was no objective, because if there was objective, she'll be able to see that, okay, there's so many other learning areas that you can achieve with one activity with your child. So that's the difference between your child's school and you. The child's school has where it's going to, has a destination, and it sticks to that destination. It sticks to that objective. It sticks to its scheme, okay, that it has prepared for that term, for that year and all of that. But as a parent, you're all over the place, okay? You're all over the place. You start something, you don't finish it and all of that. So it goes to show that, most of us are parents and we're doing well as parents. That's the truth. We have good intentions for our children. We're working with our children. We're doing well with our children and all of that. We have all these good intentions. But the thing is, we do not have specific goals. We do not have objectives. We're not following them through. So everything we're doing is just peripheral. Everything we're doing, we're just touching the surface of everything. So our teaching, our knowledge, and everything that we are stepping down to our children is not in depth. And this superficial, peripheral, this top layer kind of teaching or instruction cannot go far, cannot do well for the child, or cannot take the child too far. All right, so the next thing your child's school does is it trains its teachers. Okay, so the school, at least on the average, so the school will train the teachers. So the teachers have some sort of training. And now, speaking like as an educator that I am, let me tell you, on the average, if you are in this climate, if you are in Nigeria, I tell you, I promise you, the average school does not put your teachers in a class and really teach them exactly how to teach. Think about the coppers now. Coppers will come, NYC will send them to schools. The school will have some sort of orientation with them. This is it. You're going to be teaching math. And they send these coppers straight into the classroom. There's really nothing extra. The copper just stays there and learns on the job. Right? Basically. The copper stays there and learns on the job and all that. So the school takes time to, give your teachers like some little, some small kind of training, which goes to show that as parents, if we can just cool down and get, just little training here, little information, like what we do here, right? Like what we do here, if we can bring ourselves to the point where we keep learning, it means that with all of this knowledge, there's so much that we can do with our children. But some of us have just decided, nobody can tell me how to train my child. Nobody can tell me what to do with my child. So in doing that, you're just sabotaging. You are just messing up these children, and you are leaving a lot on the table that you can do with your children. But because your ego will not allow you, will not allow you, there's so much you're leaving on the table. The knowledge is so broad that you're leaving on the table, and so your children just continue, to get superficial kind of knowledge. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about today, as per the difference between you and their teacher, is their teachers learn to put their emotions in check. Okay, the teachers learn to put their emotions in check. So they learn to handle 20 children, 25 children from different homes, different backgrounds, different learning styles, different temperaments, different personalities. They learn to put these children together and then teach them, train them, step down knowledge to them, And then they're able to do that with their emotions in check, at least to a huge extent. 20. You know something, when I think about these things, the sheer hypocrisy, the sheer hypocrisy of our parenting choice and our insistence, on the fact that we prefer certain parenting, that we make certain parenting choices. The hypocrisy behind these choices that we make, it baffles me like endlessly. This is you. Let me take for a parent who sends his 10-year-old to a boarding school. So you send your 10-year-old to a boarding school, and that child is supposed to be in that boarding school for 3 terms, right? In a year, 3 terms. That's a total of about 42 weeks. In those 42 weeks, you want your child, sorry, my daughter. Mommy, what do you want? Sorry. Go and watch. Sorry about that. All right, so in those 42 weeks, you expect their teachers to teach them, to step down some of the most difficult knowledge to your children. You expect them to teach them manners. You expect them to teach them good behavior. You expect them to teach them, academia, to take care of their academics. You expect them to do all of these things in 42 weeks out of 56 weeks. And in those weeks, you expect them never to hit your child. Because I know parents that will go and bring down the school if for some reason they hear that anyone beats their child in school. So you send your child to a school, send your child to people for 42 weeks, and you expect them to train your child, teach your child step knowledge, make your child responsible, make your child independent, make your child have train your child morally and all of that in 42 weeks and never touch them. Then you, in the remaining 14 weeks, that was like 56 now, by the time you take 42. In the remaining 14 weeks that they come to you, every time you come here and you do like this and you say to us, why should you not beat the child? You will beat them. If you don't beat them, how come you expect someone not to beat your child for 42 weeks and train the child? And you cannot train your child in 14 weeks without whooping their ass. Until we get to the point, if nothing else has made you realize that you are the problem, if nothing else has made you realize that you do not have your emotions together, if nothing else has made you understand this far that it is because you are frustrated and do not know how to manage your frustration, that is the reason why you beat your children over everything, then you are being hypocritical. That's the truth about it. Because yes, I thought I was in the classroom for 5 years. In those 5 years, like actively in classrooms for 5 years, in those 5 years, I did not lift a finger and put it on anybody's child. And I am a human being. I have other colleagues that did not, the ones who dared to come this close got sacked or got like 10 queries like this, and they got into like real trouble. So these are people who have been teaching your children for 2, 5, 8, 10 years. They've never touched them, and you expect them to teach them difficult math as you think. All these difficult things, you expect them to teach them, put them in line, make them act right, and all of that, and do it without hitting them. And you keep insisting that you have to hit them. So this is one of the difference between you and the teacher. You let your emotions stand in the way of your child's learning. You let your emotions stand in the way of your child's process and the progress that your child can make, because you do not know how to manage the emotions. So if teachers, coppers come, they don't go to any serious, they don't go for any, in this part of the world, the coppers don't go for any serious kind of training. They send them to these international schools where hitting is not acceptable. And like that, automatically, they just flow and they're not hitting any child. It means we can do it. We just choose not to do it, and we just continue to make excuses why we should do them. But that's not what today is about, okay? So this being said, I want to go into the things that you need to do to take the front stage now that you know what the teacher is doing and you are not doing. So let's look straight at the things that you can do, all right, to take the front stage in your child's education. So number one, okay, master your emotions. I needed to go to that emotion, so that the emotional part, so that I can bring number one to you. So number one, for you to take the front stage in your child's education, you need to master your emotions. You need to master your emotions. Let me tell you something, parents, okay? And I mean, a parent who is emotionally unstable is the first challenge that a child has in their life. Okay, let me repeat that, okay? Your lack, I'll put it in another way. So your lack of emotional stability is the first challenge that you will give your child, okay? It's the first challenge that you will give your child in their life. So yes, children are going to have challenges here and there and all that. Just know that if you are an emotionally unstable parent, you are all over the place all the time. I'm not saying that any of us is perfect. I'm not saying that I'm even perfect. What I'm saying is you need to recognize, first of all, that your lack of emotional control, your inability to manage your emotion is actually something that is negative, and it can stand in the way of your child's education. So you need to come to that term. You need to come to terms with that fact, because the moment you are still up and down the place arguing why you should spare the rod and spoil the child, you need to reset their brains from time to time, you need to slap them and all. The moment you are still on that table, still arguing about little things like this, it means that you have not come to the realization that this singular thing can sabotage your child's learning process. This singular thing. I don't even want to go into what that does to the child's brain. I mean, go to the group. I've been talking about this in the last couple of days. I've been talking a lot about what your inability to control your emotions, what it does to the brain of your child, how it limits the growth of the prefrontal cortex, okay, where the part of your child's brain that controls their emotional social skills, and how they can manage all of that, the part that controls planning, execution, learning, and all of that. So the moment you are not feeding your child the right emotion, you are inhibiting the growth of the prefrontal cortex, and it simply means that you are stifling the growth of your child in all of these areas. So all those wonderful things you want to see in your children, that is the reason why you are doing all of this shouting, screaming, beating, and all of that, being macho mommy, macho daddy, all of those things that you want to see, that's the action, the way that you're parenting and the way that you're going about it is the biggest sabotage or the biggest stumbling block to your child achieving these things that you want to see in the child. Okay, but that's not what we're talking about today. So if you're able to get your emotions in place or in check, okay, so that's the first thing you need to do if you want to be at the forefront of your child's education. If you want to be in charge, if you want to take charge, if you want to be the one that is leading, okay, and knows what's going on, and you're able to. Because if you are in charge, okay, let me tell you the benefits of being in charge, okay? The benefits of being in charge is that, one, every stakeholder, everyone who has to work with your teacher, with your child, is on top of their game. Okay, the school, the teacher, the lesson teacher, the coaches, the mentors, everyone who is working with your teacher, with your child, knows that they must come with their A game, and they must give your child 100% of the benefits of that relationship or that contract that you have with them. So knowing and being in front means that your child gets the full benefits of what you're doing. I mean, we all want our children to be successful. That's why we're sending them to school. So why send them to school and not make sure that they get everything that comes with going to school? You get that? Okay, you want to train, you want them to get training in certain areas. Why send them to do this training if you don't care whether the person that is working with them gives them 100% of what they need? So you see, if you are in charge, it means that everybody knows that this one knows what she's doing. This one knows what he's doing. This one has the expectations. These are the goals. These are the objectives. These are the outcomes that we're looking for. And then everybody puts their hand on the plow, and everybody is working towards helping the child achieve this. So this is the benefit of having or being in charge of your child's education. When you know, okay, then other people will not take your child child for granted or will not give your child anything that is substandard. Okay, I have said this many times. You do not have to have everything that your child needs, but you need to know everything that your child needs. That way you're able to, bring in people who can support them, do what you need to do to support them, okay, in the places where you cannot feel in. All right, so that's the first thing. Get your emotions in check. That's what their teachers do. They try to get their emotions in check. So you get your emotions in check. So you are not the one that is sabotaging your child. You're not the one that is stifling the process, and you're not the one that is inhibiting your child's brain from developing and developing in a way that your child can learn easily and your child can reach their full potential. All right, so number 2, be your child's first teacher. Yes, I said that before. So number 2 is you need to be your child's first teacher. Now, from the moment your child is born, right, from the moment your child is born, you start teaching, right? You start teaching from the moment your child is born. Their skills, okay? In my book, Mentor Parents, right, I mentioned that there are certain skills. In my book, Mentor Parents, I mentioned that there are certain skills that are important for the first phase of your child's life, okay? The phase that we call the dependency phase. So there are some skills that are very important for that stage of your child's life, and these skills are skills that have to be taught right from the beginning, okay? For instance, when your child is born, someone needs to teach that child how to regulate, okay? Someone needs to teach that child how to regulate. How do you teach your child how to regulate? By being someone who can regulate. So it brings us still back to the emotions thing we're talking about. So at the point your child is young, your child should throw tantrums because it is the nature of children to throw tantrums. All right, so, but someone has to teach the child how to look for other ways to express their need, how to look for other ways to express their feeling without throwing a tantrum. Now, these things will not happen automatically, or they will not happen overnight. Someone will have to introduce the right skill, because a lot of time the reason why our children fail, or reason why our children fail or cannot do certain things on their own, is because they do not have the skill they need to achieve that endeavor. Okay, so someone will have to introduce the right skill that the child needs to thrive in that area, and at this point that person will have to be you. Okay, so you would have to gain mastery, or you will have to be in the process of gaining mastery, and then you have to be purposeful or intentional about this, so that every time your child has an episode, or every time your child has these tantrums, you're able to stay there and say to the child, you need to calm down. Okay, you need to calm down. You need to calm down. Mommy cannot listen to you until you calm down. If you're calming down, it means we cannot achieve anything. So I need to calm down. I need you to calm down first. Yes, as I'm talking, if you're on that table of slap them and whoop them, you're probably saying, who has that time? But hey, you have time for your customers now, Abi. If you have a shop, or you have time for your boss, you have time for your customer, you have time for your husband, you have time for people who flare and they lose their emotion, they lose their temper here and there. You have time to talk to them nicely and tell them to calm down. Oh, why is my stream on YouTube finished? Sorry. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. All right, sorry about this. I don't know what's going on here. Sorry. YouTube just went off. I don't know why. Okay. All right, so there's not much we can do about that right now. It's not nice. Okay, so basically, if you have time, you're a customer service person, and someone comes into your office and is complaining about some product or something that has been done wrong and all of that, you have time now to tell them, oh, I'm sorry, oh, please can you allow us to look at it and all that, and you don't have time to calm your child down. And then when I call you and I ask you what's the most important, what's the most important thing or most important person in your life, you will tell me, my child, please, we need to check our priorities again, right? We need to go back and look at our priorities again. If you have time to calm if you have time to calm a dissatisfied customer, if you have time to calm your boss, if you have time to calm your subordinates, if you have time to be decent, right, to act like a decent person in your office, then you have time. You should have time to calm your child who is throwing a tantrum. So yes, you have to put yourself in that place where you can say to the child, I need you to calm down right now, and I cannot listen to you while you are shouting or screaming or talking or crying like that. You will have to calm down. It's okay, it's okay. Okay? It's okay. You let the child calm down, or you take the child in your arms and, let them calm down and spend the time waiting for them to calm down. Yes, you do that. Okay, if that's what you have to do to help your child be stable for the rest of their lives, by all means do it. Okay, so you do that, and then when the child is done, you can now say, and the child is okay, you can now ask the child, are you ready to speak with mommy now? Are you ready to talk to me now? The child goes, yes, mommy, and then of course you listen to the child. By the time you do this every time, the message will sink, and that child will know mommy will never listen to you when you have that tantrum. So you will have to learn to calm that tantrum down so that we can have a real or a good conversation. So the moment we get to this point, then we are on our way to being their number one. We're on our way to being their number one teacher, or we're the ones doing the number one teaching. So by the time you take your child and you drop your child in kindergarten, or you drop your child, your 3-year-old in nursery, or your 5-year-old in kindergarten, you know that your child will not go there and throw a crazy fit, because hey, you have taught the child first. Do you understand? So by the time your child is 3 and you begin to introduce the child doing, independence, you begin to introduce responsibility. The child eats their food, they eat their food, and you teach them, to take the plates to the kitchen and all of that, you start with those baby steps. Basically, you start with baby steps, to help the children walk towards, what they would have to do in the future, or what they will have to do in a number of years. What you're doing is you are being their first teacher. A lot of times is we don't take time to teach this, and we're not patient enough to stay in there until the child achieves it. That because we do not have objectives, and we don't put those objectives in front of us. If you put those objectives in front of you, then you are able to achieve it. During this holiday, for most of the holiday, the first month of the holiday, we decided we're going to do the process, seeing the process through. So for my 5-year-old, at the time she was 5 before the holiday, before she turned 6. All right, at the beginning of the holiday, my daughter had to learn the process in the bathroom. The process, that whole take off your clothes, keep the clothes you're going to wear, go in, give yourself a bath, and all of that. At the end of the first month, we didn't achieve it. So we put it back on the list for the next month. At the end of the next month, we could achieve, she would go in, she would give herself a bath, but she couldn't scrub her back. Right? So I'll still go in and scrub her back for her and all that. But she could achieve going in there, use the toilet, flush the toilet, all these steps. So we created a bathroom routine, and I had these steps and stuck somewhere in the bathroom at her level where she could see it. So she became dramatic about it. She would actually finish pooing. The fact that routine was there was enough for her to even want to do it. So she would go there, she would finish, then she would go and look at it, now flush. Then she will flush and all that. Now step into the bathtub. Then she goes in there, she will give herself a bath. As we speak, she wakes up in the morning, she will put the clothes she has to wear, she wears her slippers, goes in there, give herself a bath, and sponges herself, steps down. She is 90% done with this skill on her own. And we were there for 3 whole months. This is the 3rd month we're there. So the truth is, if you're going to teach, even the teachers, they teach this way. That's why you see your children come in with the same thing over and over again. They do addition in nursery. They do addition in pre-nursery, they do it in nursery, they do it in reception, they do it in year 1, they do it in year 2, they do it in year 3, they are still doing addition. This is because the teachers have broken addition into the different, phases or stages of the child's life where the child can understand it. So what can the child understand when the child is in kindergarten? You put it there. In nursery, you put it there. What can the child understand when the child is in reception? You lift it up a little. You raise the bar a little, and then the child achieves that milestone. Achieved, you move to the next level. Milestone achieved, you move to the next level. That's it. But hey, this doesn't mean that in some schools they won't jump this gap, or they will not abandon or look the other way when your child is not achieving these milestones. This is why you need to be in charge, and you need to know, so that you can recognize, because you have the learning objective, because you know what your child is supposed to achieve, then you can say, hey, this child cannot be jumping here. The child has not achieved this yet. Okay, basically this is it, and this is why you need to be at the front stage of your child's education. So that brings me, okay, let me just divert a little. All right, so I worked with a few parents last month or early this month, okay, in we call it the PEP program, personalized education plan. And what we did in that program is to help parents create personalized education plans as an individualized thing. This is for CAMSI, okay? Create those plans for their individual children. All right, what you're doing with this plan is you are focusing on your child's specific need, and you're not leaving any gaps or any loopholes. All right, and as a fallout of that course, we decided to start the Mentor Parent Program. In the Mentor Parent Program, what we want to do is we want to stay on, because we understand the power of consistency, we understand the power of repetition, we understand that there is nothing about parenting that is one-off. Everything in parenting is a journey, is a process. You need to stay in there. You need to stay in there with every skill until you achieve it and the child gains mastery. In this part of the world, what we do is information. So there is always information saturation in every sector and every area. From when the children are children, even for us who are adults, we just saturate ourselves with information and there is no mastery. So it's the same thing with our children. Lesson teacher will put, school teacher will put, church will put, this one will put, they put science, they put 16 subjects. I heard children do 16 subjects in primary school. They put all of that, and yet when the child is not sitting in front of the teacher or is not writing an exam, the child cannot remember anything that they taught him in a particular area, because it's just information dump and there is no mastery. All right, so what we're doing in that program is we want to stay on with parents, okay, so that you can demand of your child's school, what are the objectives that you have for math this year, okay, or this term, okay, and we want to teach parents how to approach teachers, because hey, there's a way you approach them and the teacher thinks, or the school thinks, that you are trying to take from them and take somewhere else, okay? It's as if you're trying to lord it over them or something like that, even though I don't understand that in this part of the world. It's a contract. I give you my child. What are you going to do with my child? So can I see what you're going to do? Let me see if it's okay for me. There shouldn't be any problem with that. But Nigerian schools will tell you, oh, we don't show. It's rubbish. It's crap. Let me tell you, it's crap. All right, so we're going to teach parents how to approach the schools and then get those learning objectives. So when you know the learning objective for this school term, all right, we are able to take those learning objectives with you and work with you. So it's an individualized thing. So we're going to be working in small pocket groups. All right, we're going to be working in small pocket groups, and I'm going to have some experts join me during the course of this. We work in small pocket groups to help you create personalized plans for your children and then set goals based on those objectives. Now, whether you're working with your children or someone else is working with their children, there's going to be a system of feedback. You're going to have a feedback system where you know when every objective is achieved. You know this objective is achieved, and then you're going to have a process where with your child you can tell if this objective has been achieved. And most of this is going to be online, such that whoever is working with them is feeling online, you real time, and then you can also view what it is that they're doing, and you can have weekly reports and things like that. Basically, we don't want children getting information on top information when they are struggling, basically. So we're going to be doing this with parents. That's for the academic end. And then we're going to be helping you prepare your own curriculum for the areas that you are handling at home, because education is beyond just academics. There are a lot of areas based on your own education strategy or your own education plan for your children. I have 7 areas along which I educate my children. Okay, home management, self-management, kingdom, life, habits, skills, habits, habits, interests, okay, the habits and their interests, leadership skills, so it depends on the area along which you are educating your children, then academics, of course, and all of that. So it depends on the area that you are educating your children. So whatever those areas are, we will help you find them, or we'll help you work with whatever you're bringing with us, and then we will create curriculums for you. Now, when I'm saying this, is as if, oh, that means I have to be, no, we will work with the time you have with your children. How much, I said to one of the parents, that sent me her plan, I said to her, how much time do you have daily? If you're saying to us, I have 20, or you're saying to us, I have 30 minutes, we will work with your 30 minutes. I want to work with them every 30 minutes every day. We will work with your 30 minutes every day. If you're working with them for 30 minutes, the rest of the time, who is going to be supporting them? You must have a support plan, or you must have something on ground, right? Is there someone that's going to be watching them? Your children can self-direct. If this is the part where you have gotten in your journey, your children can already self-direct themselves. Woo! Amazing. This is where we're trying to get everybody to. The point where your children can self-direct. All right, so at that point, who is going to be monitoring, or who is going to be some kind of someone at home? Basically, we're going to be working with all of this just to make sure that our children are getting what they need, and there isn't all this dumping happening in their lives. At the end of term 1, I promise you, you will call me and tell me the results that you see in the lives of your children, because the goal of this program is to move every child from point A to point B. That's the goal of this program. Your child might be able to move from point A to point D. Amazing, good for that child. But every child will move from point A to point B, okay, because we're trying to get to point X. All right, so we will move. We will go with the child's pace. But for every point, your child is definitely moving, and the difference in that movement or that process will be evident. Okay, so we're looking at how we can make our children more effective in their learning. All right, so that's number 3. All right, I said number 2. So number 3, quickly we'll go now. So number 3 is you need to know how your child learns. How does your child learn? So as a parent, if you want to be at the forefront of your child's education, you must know how they learn. How does your child learn? How do you know how your child learns? So we're going to be working with parents also to let them know how. In fact, in the PEP program, most of the parents who took that course now know how their children learn best. All right, so we're going to be helping you with the things that you can do to, different strategies and different things that you can apply, all right, to help your child based on how they learn. All right, activities that you will use, approach that you will use for your child who is a kinesthetic learner or D3 or oral learner, your child who is a read and write learner, all of that. We're going to be doing that. We want you to be able to have that meeting. I'm going to my children's school tomorrow. All right, so I'm going to school tomorrow, and I'm going to meet their teachers. School is resuming on Monday, but I'm going to meet their teachers tomorrow because they will need to know my kids before the kids step into the classroom. All right, so I'm going to have that time, have a whole 30 minutes, 1 hour with them. Not on Monday where, they're in a hurry, everybody's there. I'm going to have that time with them because I need to introduce myself to them. I need to let them know that, come on, we're in this together. These are the kind of kids I'm bringing to you. So the children are already writing to their teacher to introduce themselves to their teachers. They're writing blind letters to their teachers like, this is who I am, this is how I learn, this is what I do, this is what I like, this is what I don't do so great at. So before they walk in, so by the time they walk into the teacher's classroom on Monday, the teacher is able to turn and say, oh, you can see, you see what I've done. I've broken the ice already, even before the children step in. I have prepared the stage for them to start well. We take it for granted our children need to connect. If you don't connect with the person that is teaching you, learning is not optimized, right? That's why even in parenting, if you don't have a connection with your children, you are not able to, you're not able to maximize their potential. You're not able to teach them as well. You're not able to achieve so much with them until you're able to connect with them well. So yes, there should be a connection between your child and their teacher, especially their homeroom teacher, that one who's with them every day. The right connection would do so much in how well your child learns, okay, and in preparing the atmosphere for your child to learn, okay, and to achieve effective learning. All right, so that's number 4. Number 5 is number 3. Number 4 is use the shaping strategy. Okay, you will have to use the shaping strategy, especially at the point where your children are young. This is one of the strategies that we're going to be teaching the parents who are taking this program. All right, so what's the shaping strategy? It's just a simple strategy, right? It's a concept that actually rewards small steps that resembles what it is that you want to see in your child. Okay, it's a concept that resembles, small steps. The small steps is a concept that, the small steps that your child makes resembles the outcome that you are trying to achieve in the child. So when you see those small steps, you hail them, you appreciate them, you praise them, and that becomes a powerful, it becomes powerful in helping your child achieve that outcome, or it becomes a motivation for your child to increase the possibility of your child achieving that outcome. Okay, let me give you an example. For instance, so your 3-year-old you want your 3-year-old to be able to take their plates to the kitchen, on their own and all that. Now, what is the objective? The objective of that is going to be that you want your child to be independent, be able to wash their plates, clear up, wash their plates. So end result, able to clear up and wash their plates at the end of every meal. Independence, that's what you're trying to get to. Now your child is 3 years old and you know that, okay, she might not be able to achieve this at 3 years. So what do you think your child will be able, what target do you want to set there? 4 years. So you can go 4 years, that's the target. But you're not going to wait till 4 years before your child achieves that now. You're going to start baby steps right now. Right? So every time you see every small effort that is aimed at the ultimate goal or your objective, you reward it, you praise it, positively, you praise it effectively, and then you continue to raise the bar. So your 3-year-old, you start with her, you allow her, every time she eats, she stands up and she wants to go, you need to pick your plate, and then she does that. You do that for a whole 1 month or 2 months, and then one day she finishes, she gets down, she picks her bowl herself, and then she drops it in the kitchen. You did that? Oh my goodness! I like the fact that mommy didn't have to remind you today, yet you took your plates on your own and you took it to the kitchen. So you want to be excited, you want to name the effort, and then you want to praise that effort, basically. So this is how you use shaping. So every small step that the child makes towards that outcome, you're going to keep praising it. Now, I'm using that just for your toddler. It could be the same thing with your preteen. It could be the same thing with your teenager. It could be the same thing with your children at all levels. Every small step. So this is one of the strategies that we're going to be using to teach the parents, and we're going to teach them how to use this shaping in every phase of their children's life, or no matter how old their children are, right, towards this outcome. Remember, because we have our goals or we have our objective, it is very easy for us to recognize, right, the small efforts, and we're able to use shaping as a strategy. Number 5, okay, we're not moving very fast. Okay, so number 5 is meet and establish a relationship with your child's teacher. I said this last week. Your relationship, or the need for a relationship between you and your child's school and teacher, an effective one, a good relationship, cannot be overemphasized. So if you have a school that you cannot relate well with your child's school or the teacher, perhaps your child doesn't need to be there, or perhaps you need to work on yourself and how you, mean, how you blow, how you blow hot and all of that. So why are you having all these conflicts with your child's school? You need to ask yourself that question. Why do you have all this trouble with your child's school? So if you're constantly having trouble, it means that they are not able to meet your expectations. Now you need to ask yourself, am I being objective about my expectations? What expectations do you have? Are you going to go and fight about the fact that they did not allow your child eat all her food? You need to be objective about what it is that you're complaining about. Is it something that can be looked at? Is it a one-off? Is it something that just happened one-off? You want to go there, address it, amicably, and ensure that it doesn't happen again. Is it something that is trivial? Is it something that just happens to be about you? The teacher said my child is eating, my child brought eba to school. Why would she, what exactly is it? You need to teach your child to take eba to school and eat the eba like it's the best food in the world. It doesn't matter who said or who doesn't say, right? Let him eat his eba like eba is the best food in the world. So is it like the teacher did nose for the eba and then you think that's going to disturb your child's confidence? That is not where the child's confidence is at home. Right? So basically you need to put your finger on what exactly, okay, your issues are with the teacher or with the school, okay, and you need to be sure that you are being very objective, okay? So if it's something that is going to affect your child, if it's something that is not acceptable, then you want to rethink your child being with that teacher. You want to rethink your child being in that place. Children should be where they are safe, okay? Someone said in our closed group today about how the children went somewhere and they're going to a fight and all of that. And I said to her, the simple fact that your children under 10 are in a facility and they get into all of these issues, they have their quarrels, they started fighting, one hit, the other one hit, it became a tree. The brother joined, they did all of that and even got to the point of people getting injured and all that. First of all, that tells you that the system has a problem. These people are not responsible. The system has a problem. No system should allow things go that far. You should actually have structure in place that does not allow conflicts go that far. You understand? So basically, we need to be sure of the system, the facilities where we're dropping our children. You need to go do your homework about this one big time, okay? Number 6 is have a goal for each term for your child. Before you even meet your child's teacher, have your goals. I have said that a lot in the last couple of weeks. Have your goals for the term. What do you want to achieve in your children this term? Now your goal is not going to be, especially, you have your goals in every other area. The academic one may not be very specific as far, I want him to be able to do LCM, HCF and all of that, because you probably don't know what it is that the school has yet until you meet and demand it. But hey, you can wait and have that and then put that and use that, marry it with your own goal and then have your goal. But more than that, have a holistic goal for your child for this year. For instance, in math, my 6-year-old, I know that this term I want to ensure that everything about addition, subtraction, and then the multiplication table in this first term. Multiplication table up to 6 times table. Okay, why am I doing that? Because I notice she's good with numbers. I notice she enjoys, and then she can build her multiplication table. She's built her multiplication table up to 6 times table on her own, and then she memorizes it. So I said, for me, education of my children is child-led. The education is child-led. I go with what the child is ready for. I go with what the child wants to do. I go with what the child is ready for. So I do not bring in anything. I wait. When I see the clue, I see the clue, I follow it. Basically. So yes, by this term, she should do up to 7 times table and then know it on her own, because she isn't even cramming it. She's actually building it up and knowing it on her own. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do all those, I'm going to do the math drills from time to time. We're cooking and I go like, oh, honey, so 4 times 5. And then she'll give it to me. 8 times 2. Sorry, 7 times 2. 6 times 5. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to stop at 7. So the plan is make sure that everything that has to do with addition, subtraction, and then the multiplication table and division, this term I'm going to make sure. So for me, it's a goal even before I meet the school. So now if I go to the school, I'm going to introduce division. We may not know so much about division, but she will at least know that division is the opposite of multiplication. Now, she is doing multiplication because she is interested in multiplication, and she started doing multiplication on her own when we talked about addition being repeated, okay? Addition being, multiplication being repeated addition. So she went ahead and then did up to 4, and she said, it means that, mommy, 4 in 3 places is 12. So 4 times 3 is 12. So she started doing that on her own and all that. So I knew she was ready for that. So I'm going to stretch it up to 7 and leave it there. We're not going to do 8 even if you beg us this time. So we're just going to stay there. So I already have my goals. So if I go to school and in school they are not doing multiplication at all, that's fine and good. She will do what the school is, but we have a goal. Okay? And that gets as far as 7 times table. Basically, it doesn't have to be the same for you. So find out what it is, okay, and have your own goals, even if it's not, and your goals can be emotional. I mean, it should be in the area of emotion, could be in the area of social skills, could be in whatever area. Just have those goals and know that, and then share them with your child's teacher, basically. Okay, so whether they are emotional, whether they are social skills and all that, share it with the child's teacher, so that as you're working at home, the teacher is also working with your child in school. The relationship with your child's teacher is a triangular relationship. The child is the focus of that relationship, and helping that child achieve their full potential and to be wholesome is what all of you are interested in, or both of you are interested in. So anything for the child. So you need to be in that relationship with their teacher and let their teachers know at all times what your goals are. So number 7, okay, number 7, I said create a monitoring system. So you must create a monitoring system where you can get feedback from school. You respond to those feedbacks. So yes, the school might not have a system, or that may not be a part of their system, right, to give you monthly feedback. You can create your own system where you write to the teacher every month or on the 3rd week of every month. Oh, hi, Miss Benny. Thank you so much for all you do with Kamsi. I can see he's made improvements here, there, but I noticed that he's been struggling with multiplication, or he's been struggling with so and so. I would like you to give me feedback at the end of the month so that I know where he is with that. Remember, you're all working for the good of the child, and when she gives you that feedback, you're not the one that teaches your child, the lesson teacher. When she gives you that feedback, you send the feedback to the lesson teacher, and then you use that feedback to create goals for the next month with the lesson teacher. So that brings me to the next one. The next one, number 8 or 9, is that when you have people who work with your children, you must set monthly goals with them. Stop leaving it vague. Stop having lesson teachers come in to work with your children and it's just, okay, I want to meet the child. Okay, this is doing, how are you doing? And everything, I will report tomorrow. Stop doing that. That's the reason you have the learning objectives that you're asking from the school, isn't it? When they come from the school, break it down yourself. Break it down, or if you have a relationship with the teacher, tell the teacher to break it down. When it comes from the school, they will actually break it down into every week or something like that. So before the lesson teacher comes, break it down yourself and you say to them, this is what we want to achieve for this month. This is what we want to achieve for this month. And then hand it to the lesson teacher so that the lesson teacher can focus on your objective for the month, and then he's going to work towards the child achieving that. You want to do monthly for the parents who are in our program. We're going to have monthly feedback from the people who are supporting your children. So if you want to do weekly, that's up to you. You have that time. If you don't have that time, then let it be monthly. So get your monthly report. At the end of the month, the teacher should be able to say to you, this is where he's at, this is what we've done, this is where he's at, and all of that, and all of that. So you can do that. So depending on the area, you can also have your children, if you are the very busy parent who is hardly around and you can't do checks. What you can do, you can also have a monthly, you can also have a month, we do that show and tell, a monthly show and tell in the house. And the children love it. Okay, so all they need to do is the week after your report, the next week, have your monthly show and tell where the children can do a presentation. You can pick randomly or pick 2 areas where they can do a presentation of what they've learned or what they've done in that area. Okay, make it fun. So we'll have the children dress nicely. We'll have them dress nicely. I will provide snacks, okay? I'll make snacks. They like shawarma, so we'll have shawarma or suya or something like that. They will invite daddy. Okay, daddy, we're going to have it on this Saturday. And everybody's there. They walk towards it. They do the PowerPoint presentation. My daughter, she always, where's the board? The board is there. She uses cardboard. Her brother will help her and all that. She uses cardboard and all that. And then you just put it up there, and then they do a presentation. I homeschooled my daughter for 1.5 years, okay, for almost 2 years, but she's going back to school this school year because daddy thinks that, that's, you know, but she's going back to school this school year. So I'm going back to partially homeschooling. I've done partial homeschooling, right? I do my homeschool curriculum, so I do partial homeschooling. So we're going back to partial homeschooling. My children and I, we do geography and history solely at home. We have that at home, you know. We do kingdom life at home. Okay, of course I reinforce and support them with what they're doing in school, in math, language, and all that. But basically we have a full curriculum for general knowledge, what's happening in the world and all of that, so that the children are deeply knowledgeable, geography, history, and then kingdom life, our faith and our beliefs. You know, we have a curriculum, you know, and we do all of that. And then of course personal development, and home development. So that's a part of my homeschool curriculum that I work with the children, and we'll be working with the parents in this program with all of this also. So in our program, we do that every Saturday. So the show and the tell. I actually have a YouTube channel that is not listed for my daughter. It has her presentations are all there. It's not public at all. In fact, I don't think I've ever shared it with anyone apart from her father. All right, so, but I think I'm going to share it with the parents in that program, just so that you go in there. At the end of every lesson, she just does a presentation. At the end of every lesson, she does a presentation, a show and tell, you know, of what she's learned and all of that, you know, and I have it there on record and all that. Nothing spectacular. I mean, just, it's a beautiful place to go to, basically, you know. So that you can have a system like that, okay? Then number 9, I don't know what number, I've lost count. No, number 9, create independence. Teach your children to be independent learners. So as much as this lesson teacher or whoever is coming to support your children, okay, as much as these people come to support your children, that's why you need your learning objectives. The teachers are going to stick to those objectives that you have as your goal for the month. Every other thing outside that, the child will have to do on their own. Okay, the child will have to do on their own. Now, you can also use shaping here. If your child is very little, you can start. You work with your 3-year-old, your 4-year-old, and all that. You can start. You support your child yourself. I don't know when parents have lesson teacher for 3-4 years old. I don't know. But then again, I can't judge you because I am not in your shoes and I don't know what you are going through or your unique situations, okay? So yes, you have your lesson teacher who works with your 3-year or your 4-year, your 5-year-olds and all that, all right? So you can have them, support them, okay? Support them, step away. Support them, step away. Support them, step away. That way the child is building stamina, okay? That way the child is building stamina. You do a lot of show and tell when you come home. Let the child teach you, okay? We call it dump. When my son was younger, I used to call it dump. So he dumps on me what he's learned, okay? And that time it was BlackBerry. While he's dumping on me, I'll take my BlackBerry phone and I'll do a video of him dumping on me. So whatever you do for your little ones, do the dump, okay? Let them dump on you. At that point, you're trying to realize they come to play with you. Okay, you're dump on mommy. What did Mr. or Miss Edith teach you today? And then she dumps on you. That way you know that learning is happening. If your child cannot talk to you about what they've learned, it means that learning is not internalized. Okay, so for you to know that learning is internalized, your children should be able to talk to you about their learning. All right, so number 10, you must praise their efforts. Number 10 is you must praise your children's effort all the time. Praise their efforts all the time. Every small effort that they make, you want to praise those efforts as the children make them. So make it a style in your home that you praise their efforts and not the people. You don't go about how you're such a brilliant boy, you're such an intelligent girl. No, you're constantly praising their efforts. So you are not there, and then you come home and you see them, they jump, and then in jumping you can see something that they've been struggling with, or their reports come from their lesson teacher, or when you fill in, depending on who's working with the kids, when you fill in and then you go back and you look at your evaluation sheets and you see the milestones where you have moved from the 8th of the month and where you are at on the 28th of the month, you can tell that there's been a leap. Okay, you can tell that the child has made progress. Okay, even if it's just one step, you want to, oh my God, come, can you see who was struggling here? See where you are. Oh, you should be proud of yourself. I mean, on the 8th, you couldn't even do this. On the 20th, you can even answer 5 questions on the same problem now. You have done amazingly well for yourself. It's about the children. Stop making what your children do, their achievements, their failures. Stop making it about you. It is not about you. It is their life. So praise it and let them feel responsible for their outcomes. Let them feel responsible for all of their outcomes, good, bad, ugly. That's when they know that it is all on them. It is dependent on them to pick up and to keep moving. It is dependent on them to raise the bar. It is dependent on them to achieve even more. There is no limit to achievement. There isn't. If Mark Zuckerberg is not resting, if Elon Musk is not resting, if all of these people who have done remarkable things, that if they go today on retirement and go to sleep, they've already written their names in the sands of time, and we will continue to, we'll continue to attribute these things to them. If these people are not resting, people that have made 1, 2, 10, 20 feet, if they are not resting, they are still thinking, then how can you make your child feel intelligent now? And when I hear teachers say to children, this one is not a problem, this one doesn't have a problem. What do you mean by that? This one doesn't have a problem. I mean, don't worry. And teachers do this a lot in the classroom. Focus on other children and leave your child and say, oh, this one is very brilliant. Nothing. There's always a bar to be raised. So you're always raising the bar for your children, and you're always praising the effort so far and then lifting it, so that way your child knows that there is no limit. All right, so if you would like to be a part of the Mentor Parent Program, we start off on the 2nd of October, and it's for first term. So we are with you for the whole of first term. We are with you supporting your child. Please, if you don't want to do the work, then no, this is not the program for you. You must come in ready to do the work, to support your children. Have those who support them be on their toes. Be ready to monitor them, because this is a program that is results oriented. So if you don't put in the work, you won't see the results, and we don't want that. We want result. We want to move every one of our kids from point 1 to point B. I said to someone who wants me to do something for him, I said to him, you better bring what you want me to do from now before the 2nd, because from the 2nd I am busy, as in my whole heart is in this, because this is the core. If you know me, you know this is my core. If you know me, you know supporting children. Every child, I said to my niece yesterday, it is what it is. I don't know where it comes from, but every child that has stepped in here stepped out better. Every child that stepped in here left with wings to fly and touch the sky if they wanted to. All right, so that's where I am. This is my core, enabling children and helping them reach for the sky. So yes, this is what we want to do with this parent. If you want to be a part of this, send us a DM. You can write in the comments here, and then we will send you a link where you can join the waiting list. All right, this program starts off on the 2nd of October. Thank you very much, everyone. I talked about Mentor Parent. That's my latest book. Okay, it has all the skills that you need for the dependable phase, and then it has a lot of our stories, the story with my children and all that. And my son's book, okay, my son's book, Baby Step, talks about all the baby steps that he has taken. Story. Someone said to me, I picked your son's book, I started reading it, and I couldn't drop it until I was done. Whoa. And that guy bought the book for 3,000 naira and paid 2,000 naira extra and said, I just want to encourage this boy. You've done so well. So, hey. All right, people, so thank you very much for everyone. I'm looking at the comments. I can't see any comments. I can see people watching. I can't see your comments right now. Okay, I don't know what happened on YouTube. We'll have to upload this video on YouTube because YouTube stopped all of a sudden on its own. I don't know, and I'm working alone. There's no one back office to help me fix that. All right, so we'll have to upload on YouTube later. So thank you very much. If you have any question, you put them in the comments. If you're watching or catching the replay, put your questions in the comments. I will do well to respond to them. If you would like to be a part of the Mentor Parent program, send us a DM, write in the comments, just let us know. Just write in there, Mentor Program, all right, and we will tell you how to be a part of it. You can start by joining the waiting list first of all, and all of that. So thank you very much. I hope you got value. Let us know in the comments. I will see you next week, Thursday. In the meantime, feel free to engage with the post in the group. There's a lot of knowledge happening here from me and from other contributors. Please, there's so much to learn. The whole parenting journey is a learning process. You can't stop. We can't stop learning. I have my coaches, okay? I have my coaches. I have my bosses in the industry. I have my coaches that I log on and listen to them every week. I have people that I follow. I have books that I read. The learning process cannot end. No one is an authority, on this in this matter of parenting. So if you have children, you must be learning. All right, thank you very much for everyone who joined. Have a lovely afternoon. I see you, Becky. Hi. Nkechi, I see you. Fadain, Bola Joko. Good evening, Raji. I see you, Mariam, Nafisa.